what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and wow. So I got back from work, and I got this news, I guess, that the people were talking. Was like, what? Because people were like, I was hearing stuff about CM Punk. I was like, oh great, what are they? I was like. Because obviously a lot of the news has kind of slowed down a little bit since we're now like 7 months since the media scrum and everything that happened. So things been kind of slow. But so I then hear like something had happened and I'm like, oh no, what? My first thought was, oh great. What did the freaking Elite say about him now? Or some bullshit like that, you know what I'm saying? No. Instead, CM Punk actually, I guess, posted a now deleted Instagram post or story, I guess. I don't know why they just don't put it like on the picture like thing instead of doing it a story. I don't get the concept of the story. The story kind of just vanishes after 2 days or whatever. I don't understand that concept. But again, anyways, so he posted the story thing, and he quickly deleted it. As a matter of fact, Jericho responded with a story where he used Matt Hardy's broken or woken or whatever delete thing or whatever as a kind of a joke, I guess. I have no idea. But, so, very, very interesting stuff here that, has been talked about on this now deleted Instagram post. Some people are saying that this might not be real, but I don't know how it can't be unless Punk was hacked. So I'm just gonna talk about this, and I'm gonna give my thoughts on this for a second here. So I'm gonna read this off, and I'm sure people here on YouTube or other places that are talking about this have already talked about it. So I'm gonna read it. If you don't want to hear the reading stuff and skip to my thoughts, then you can just go skip to my thoughts after this one. But I am going to read it through here and give my thoughts on this. But I'm going to read it entirely, and then I'm going to give my thoughts. As you guys know, I was going to say this right now. I am pro CM Punk. So if you're one of those elite fanboys, just, leave. Because they busted in his locker room, period. That's the end of the discussion. You guys, everyone knows that I am 110% on CM Punk's side on this. So, anyways. So here we go. Quote, side, I wasn't cleared to come back to wrestle. Then plan was to wrestle at the pay-per-view. I sat and listened to Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, Rocky 3 idea. I explained how I never seen a Rocky movie. I thought the idea sucked, but if the boss wanted to do it, whatever. He said he wouldn't lose to me. I never experienced someone refusing to lose to me. I just laughed. I asked Tony if this was what he wanted. He said yes. He's the boss, so I said okay. But I need to be cleared first. They kept saying it could just be a squash, so I didn't need to be cleared. I scoffed at that. My health is more important. Dave Meltzer is a liar. Jericho is a liar and a stooge. There were plans, but plans always change. But I never put a company above my health ever again. End quote. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. Like I said, I just wanted to read through it myself, and now I want to give my thought. I want to break this down and give my thoughts on what CM Punk allegedly said here. So first and foremost, I want to just say is, holy shit, Punk, you never watched a Rocky movie. But I would say this right now. When they did that storyline, and I don't know if I have the video, like, I don't know the exact part in my video. I don't remember which video it was I made that I did it in, because I made a bunch of CM Punk videos during that time period. But I know for a fact that I brought this up, that I believed that they were using a Rocky Balboa storyline here. And I was right. CM Punk just basically vindicated me. Because I thought it was dumb at the time, too, that they were using a Rocky storyline for this. Because if you're going to do a Rocky storyline, okay, you know, you need more time to build that up. First of all, you need more time to build the storyline up anyways, because the storyline was way too rushed for All Out. Like, they rushed that storyline way too quickly without actually developing it. So the storyline was mid anyways. But if you're doing a Rocky thing, they really didn't do it right anyways. All right? Since I have watched Rocky, and I felt it was very cheesy how they presented this, because I said I knew this was a Rocky storyline, and CM Punk just basically confirmed to me that this was a Rocky storyline, that they were taking this for, inspiration from Rocky 3. So CM Punk just basically vindicated me that I know what I'm talking about. When these people are doing these storylines, I know, like, I call out these storylines halftime, oh, they're just freaking just spoofing off of this, spoofing off of this. I know what I'm talking about, guys. CM Punk just vindicated me. He just proved that I know what they're doing, okay, in these storylines, okay? Because I always tell people, like, oh, there's no way they're doing that. There's no way they're doing that. There's no way it's close to that. Guess what? I was proven right again. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to talk about with me, just a little bragging rights to me there, you know, that I knew what storyline they were going for here. Okay, so another thing here is CM Punk is alleging that Dean Ambrose basically refused to do the job to CM Punk. And to me, that is unprofessional as fuck. Because, you know, we already had to deal with that that doesn't work for me, brother, in Hulk Hogan. And we're in a different era. Obviously, there wasn't social media back then to know what Hogan was doing. But that should never be what's going on. That should never be the case. And the fact that Moxley wouldn't do business, to me, is, like, not cool. If it's true. So that's not something I like to hear. Because I like Dean Ambrose. I like Jon Moxley. Okay? So I don't like to hear that. I don't like to hear that people don't want to do business. You know, it's like, oh, you know, I'm not going to put you over unless you put me over first. You know, it was the whole thing with Shawn and Hogan, too, back in 2005. It's like, oh, I'm not going to put you over unless you put me over. You know, like, what the fuck, dude? You know, I don't like to hear that. So, already, I'm not liking this. I'm not liking that Moxley wouldn't put over Punk unless he put him over first on a Dynamite. Because that whole thing sucked. Like, everyone knows that whole thing sucked. Everyone knows that. You know, it was god-awful. It should have been a longer match than that. But whatever. So basically, and he accused Dave Meltzer of being a liar, which BTY, he is. I mean, he's been for over 50 years. I mean, he's the biggest con man in wrestling. See, when CM Punk saying that Dave Meltzer is a liar, I mean, everyone knows he's a liar. Even people that don't want to believe that he isn't a liar knows that he's a liar. They just, you know, want to just believe in Meltzer. Here's the thing about Dave Meltzer, okay? I'm going to say this right now about Dave. And I've said this before on Twitter if you guys follow me on Twitter and have seen my tweets on Meltzer. There's too many, so it probably got lost in shuffle. But here's the thing about Dave Meltzer, and I'm going to say this right now. He is the most overrated journalist, wrestling journalist in the history of wrestling. And it's simply one reason. It's one reason. He was the only wrestling journalist that existed in the 70s and the 80s. All right, there was no one else that was doing this shit back then. Okay, and you want to know why nobody called him out back then? Or even really, relatively now, in the over 50 years that he's been doing this? Because regular journalists don't give a flying fuck about wrestling. All right, they don't care. There's no real journalist integrity when it comes to wrestling, because it's a work. It's all storyline driven. It's predetermined. So real journalists that report on the New York Post and the New York Times, the Washington Post, etc. All those people that are real journalists that report on shit like that, they don't give a flying fuck about wrestling. They don't care that a wrestling journalist misreported that Hulk Hogan didn't want to do business against Shawn Michaels or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about that shit, which is why Meltzer has been able to get away with it for so long, because social media was not a thing. And so he's been shielded basically for the past 50 plus years of doing this shit. Okay, and I'm glad people are finally waking up to the fucking fact that he's not a good journalist, and he never was. Okay, he talks about wrestling, all right, and nobody is going to go after a journalist's integrity when it comes to wrestling, because the only time when the media cares about wrestling is when it's negative. The Benoit tragedy and the steroid trial, with Vince and all that shit. That's the only time they ever gave a fuck about doing anything. You don't see the media, trying to force on unionization of wrestlers or anything. You see them doing it for, Starbucks and all these regular jobs and shit like that. But you'll never see them do it for wrestlers. Wrestlers are independent contractors. They don't care. They don't want to change it. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about that shit. Okay? And that's why wrestling has never gotten a union. I mean, it was close with Ventura, but Hogan was a stooge for it. And that's why it never happened. That was the closest it could have ever happened, was with Jesse Ventura. But then Hogan ruined it. So, that's why you'll never see a unionization or, wrestlers not being considered independent contractors but being considered employees. That's why you'll never see it. Plain and simple. It will never happen, because you'll never see politicians push for it. You'll never see other people push for it. They don't care about it. The media doesn't care about it, because the media doesn't care about wrestling. And that's why Dave Meltzer was able to get away with being this wrestling journalist that can make false reports and make up stories that aren't fucking true, okay? And even though he never talked to anybody, he can just make shit up all the time, and people will buy his stupid goddamn overrated newsletter or internet newsletter or whatever newsletter he's had. I mean, first it was paper. I'm sure now it's internet now, but whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's a waste of money. If you subscribe to that, you're wasting your damn money, because he don't know shit. Okay? He's overrated, and he never rates objectively anyways, because unless the matches are in Japan, they don't get 5 stars unless they're injured or they do something seriously significant to the point where Meltzer has no choice but to give them 5 stars. Hell, Michaels and Undertaker at 25, WrestleMania 25, didn't get a 5-star according to Dave Meltzer, which was fucking a load of shit that it didn't, by the way. So, that's Dave Meltzer in a nutshell. So, again, this doesn't really surprise me. Everyone knows by now. Like, I mean, all the false reports that he's been reporting, that people have been calling him out on the past couple of months now, people are really starting to finally see that Meltzer is full of shit and doesn't know shit about wrestling, or not wrestling, but by the news that the news behind the scenes. He don't know shit. And he's the biggest con man in 50 years of wrestling, and I stand by that. I stand by my statement on that. He don't know shit. And, I'm sure he'll block me on Twitter if he sees this video. I'm surprised he hasn't blocked me on Twitter yet already. since Fightful blocked me for just making one simple comment criticism on his fucking goddamn Fightful Select bullshit. Sean Rock Sapp or whatever the fuck his name is. That's why I have a problem with him too. Is he can't. No, the problem with Sean Ross Sapp is he fucking can't take criticism when people call him out. He'll block you just immediately. He can't take criticism, and that's my problem with Sean Ross Sapp. He's a coward basically because he blocks people when they give him criticism, constructive criticism. Dave Meltzer, I mean, he just don't. I just don't think Mulcher cares. But yeah, he hadn't blocked me on Twitter yet. I'm surprised he hasn't, because I've criticized him more than anyone has. So that's my take on Dave. He said Jericho is a liar, and I can't prove that for sure or not. But that's what Punk's saying. Now the Stooge part is quite interesting because I remember Jesse Ventura talking about what his definition of an office stooge is, because he said he called Hulk Hogan an office stooge for basically ratting out the union plan to Vince McMahon. And so he's accusing Jericho of being an office stooge, basically, which, I mean, he does take a lot of things from Tony Khan. So, I don't know with that one. But I do like how Punk says he'll never put a company above my health ever again, because as you guys know, CM Punk nearly died when he was in WWE with those Z-Packs, that made him poop and shit like that, and had him have a lot of problems. So that I don't blame him for stating this. His health should always come first. So yeah. So if you weren't aware of also the Dynamite that happened this Wednesday, CM Punk is still on the production truck or whatever, but when they showed the truck for the opening segment, they basically hid CM Punk, his face or whatever. They hid his face. They hid his face under a bunch of tables. Like they had like some folded up tables hidden under it, so you couldn't see his face or whatever. Just petty shit like that. Again, not sure if this is a sign for him returning or they're just trying to ignore his existence or whatever. But the thing is, I don't know if any of this stuff's true. He deleted it like immediately, and then Jericho did the Matt Hardy delete thing or whatever. So I don't know if it's true or not, or any of these are true. But I do know the shit about Dave Meltzer's true. I will say that. And I don't like the whole thing with Moxley and how, he wouldn't put business first. It seems like, if this is true, but, I am fascinated to the fact that it was exactly what I thought it was, and that was a Rocky, idea. Rocky Balboa. Because that was basically what I thought it was, but it was way too rushed and not very executed that well. In my opinion, it wasn't executed that well. Something like that to me needs to be more dragged out if you're going to do something like that. And they kind of rushed it, because that's just what they do, in that situation, because they didn't really build it properly. So, yeah, I mean, my thoughts are, like I said, I don't know what this is a sign of. I don't know if this is a sign of, he still works for AEW and he's coming back and he's trying to trick everybody, or this was something that he posted on accident, made a mistake. I don't fucking know, because he deleted it right away. So, I don't know what is going on or what the status is. Honestly, I don't think we're going to know the status until he either A, comes back, which would probably be within a month, because, I mean, we're in the 7th month right now. And it was a 6 to 8 month injury. You know, this happened last September. So, you know, assuming that, you know, he recovers by the 8th month, you know, since he's older, I'm going to imagine he's probably going to it's probably going to take the full 8 months rather than the 6. And he does say, even in this, that, you know, he won't do it until he's 100% healthy again. So, you know, that could be another thing, is that he's not going to rush himself back to be cleared. But I am interested in to see where this goes. I mean, if he never comes back, I mean, we're going to eventually have to find out, because they're going to have to eventually say that he's released. But then again, why is he still on the damn production truck? Yeah, they covered him up. They covered him up for the segment with tables and shit. But why would they not just change the production truck? They have the money. They have the money to take him off the goddamn truck. I mean, fuck. They were petty to freaking take him off the damn video game cover, for fuck's sakes. All right? You know, they took him off the video game cover. Okay? So don't tell me they couldn't have taken him off the production truck. You know what I mean? They definitely could have taken him off the production truck. So, I mean, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. If Punk does come back, when would he come back? I'm thinking either Double or Nothing. I think Double or Nothing would be when he would come back. You have to have him come back, okay? First and foremost, I don't care what anyone says. He needs to come back to confront MJF. Like, that's the first thing he needs to do. He needs to come out and say that he is the real world champion. All right? And they need to do the 2011 storyline, okay, with Cena and Punk, where they basically say there's 2 world champions. Okay? That's what they did in WWE. For anybody who doesn't remember, Vince McMahon did strip Punk of the WWE Championship the night after Money in the Bank. And then a week later, when Punk was reinstated, Triple H said that he was recognized still as WWE Champion, and there was 2 WWE Champions. That's what they need to do in AEW. MJF is going to be recognized as World Champion, and CM Punk is going to be recognized as the other World Champion that's been this champion all this time. You know, and before people say that AEW can't do it, literally AEW had interim champions retconned, okay, because Toni Storm, throughout her entire reign as women's champion, was called the interim women's champion. But then after she lost it, they retconned that to saying that she was recognized as the legitimate women's world champion. Okay, because obviously the person was injured, you know, her back obviously, you know, was worse than they originally anticipated. And so they just recognized her as the legitimate women's champion. So point being is, yes, they can do that. And they have to do that before Kenny Omega or the Elite or whatever the fuck they plan on doing, which honestly, I don't even want them to feud with Kenny Omega, because I hate Kenny Omega for what he did. Or I hate what the Elite did for what they did. I shouldn't say hate as in, like, you know, as people, because I'm sure they're good people behind closed doors. But what they did makes me not like them, okay? What they did, if you bust into my fucking locker room, my private fucking locker room, and you attack me, you attack my dog, okay, which that was alleged now too with the whole tooth, the teeth thing or whatever, okay? You go in my private room, and you kick the door down or bust the door down, whatever the hell it was, does not matter if he kicked it or busted it down, You go into my locker room and you bust my locker room and get into me and confront me, guess what? You're getting knocked the fuck out, okay? This is my locker room. This is my private area. Don't you come in my friggin' thing. And CM Punk is 100% justified in doing that, okay? You know, I'm sick of this bullshit excuse that these, and they're EVPs too. That's another thing too. EVPs should not be doing that, okay? I've been over this. I said this 6 months ago after it happened. I don't give a damn. You go in my damn locker room and you kick the door down and you freaking obviously wanted a confrontation. You know, that's what's going to happen. You know, that's not how you handle that type of shit. That's not how you handle it. They didn't handle it right at all. Punk saying what he said, you know, what you do is you go and you wait until Dynamite the next Tuesday or whatever. Obviously, they probably didn't know Punk was injured, but that's what you do. You freaking wait until the next Dynamite or Wednesday to confront him. That's what they, you know, backstage. That's what should have happened. All right, they went about it 100% the wrong way. Okay, they went about it the wrong way completely. Okay, with the way they did it, the way they handled it. They knew Punk was pissed at them. The last thing you need to do is to confront him in his locker room, especially when he was being checked out for medical issues at that point too, apparently. So yeah, that's my thing on that, and my opinion hasn't changed. You know, 6 months later, my opinion hasn't changed about what the Elite did, and they shouldn't have been allowed to do it. They should have been fired for what they did, but of course, you know, they got coddled for it because they're EVPs. You know, if you did that at any other job, you would have been fired instantly, but you know, they didn't because they're the quote-unquote elite. And first and foremost, I just want to say this right now. It's not trying to be on a hate-whole thing on the Elite or whatever, but the fact of the matter is I had no issues with the Elite or the Young Bucks until they did this bullshit. I think the Young Bucks are a decent tag team. Do I think they're the best tag team ever? Fuck no. FTR is a far better tag team than them. As a matter of fact, I can think of a bunch of other tag teams that are better than them right now. I mean, the Usos are a better tag team than them. Okay. All right. Do I think they're the greatest tag team ever? No. You know, I think they're overrated in that sense. Do I think they're a good tag team? Yes, I do think they're a good tag team. I'm not going to be these biased anti-Young Buck fans or whatever that think they suck, because they don't. They were a good tag team. They still are. But I can't even get around to watching them anymore after what they did, after what they pulled with CM Punk. So I mean, that's my take on that whole thing. Same thing with Kenny Omega. I'm not going to be one of these people that say, oh, he's a bad wrestler. No, he's not. He's a good wrestler. Doesn't mean I like him, and I don't now. They, did some shit that I can't stand behind for what they did. And that's just my take on it. I know some other people are going to have different opinions on it, but that's my take on it. And I've said at the beginning of this video that I am pro CM Punk in this situation. I've been a fan of Punk for a long time. So I know some people are going to say that I'm biased on this, but this is the fact of the matters are. Fact of the matters is you bust in somebody's private locker room, and that's all the facts we know, is that they busted in his locker room. It wasn't kick the door down. It was a freaking, basically bolting their way into the locker room or whatever. Whatever it was, they went into his private locker room. They obviously wanted confrontation. Allegedly, possibly injured the dog, because the dog was missing 2 front teeth or whatever because of it, obviously if you hurt my pet, I'm going to freaking get on you as well. They wanted confrontation, and that's what you get when you get a confrontation in my private locker room. You want to do that shit, you gotta face the consequences at that point. And I don't think they faced the consequences that they should have faced. I think they should have. I mean, they were suspended for 2 months, but I don't think that was good enough. Especially since Punk was out for 6 months. So that's my take on it. It's whatever now. But I wanted to give my thoughts on this whole post, I guess. If there's any new updates, like major updates, not this whole speculation that he's coming back or he's not coming back. I've been hearing that for a couple of weeks now. I'm not gonna. I say I wasn't gonna even comment about the whole truck thing. I wasn't even comment about the whole production truck bullshit thing. Skit or whatever. Had it not been for this news thing, but I just gave my quick thoughts on that in this video. But until we hear some serious stuff or we hear some stuff that his contract's being bought out, which I feel like that would have been already known. Like that would have been public information had he been like his contract had been actually bought out and then released. So that didn't happen. So as of right now, these are my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think CM Punk's coming back? What do you think they'll do when he comes back? What are your thoughts on this? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Comment, rate. If you like this video, my videos, please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I'm the Ultimate Goku. I'm out of it. Peace!